Into a Thursday edition, championship week edition of the Best Bet Show, presented by Phil 68, all made possible by BetRivers. I'm Matthew Cox. Jim Root will be joining me today. Kai McKeon will also be joining me. Actually, they're joining me right now. They're on the stream. We're going to talk a lot of hoop today. Conference tournaments will be the crux of our chat mob discussions, but because I'm officially a West Coast native at the moment, I tilted the outline heavily toward the West Coast, Best Coast. So we'll get there here in a second with a 4-game Pac-12 part one of our outline. But first off, Kai, how are you? What did you learn last night? And we'll get to Jim here in a second, then get back to the program.
Matt, I'm doing great here in the Midwest. 3 SEC takeaways really quick. Mizzou comes back and wins another game. That's great. This is new territory for us as Mizzou fans. It feels fantastic to have a team that closes games out. Number 2, Vanderbilt. Their win at Kentucky keeps things a bit interesting for them as they kind of get closer to the bubble, still on the outside looking in, but makes it fun. Makes it fun for the bubble. And then Alabama, 0-3 now, ATS. Since the Miller news broke, it's affecting them, folks. It is. Jim, your takeaway.
Yeah, seems like it. Couple bubble takeaways, Kai. Penn State keeping themselves in the mix a little bit with a road win at Northwestern. Utah State absolutely demolished UNLV on the road. Their numbers, metrics look like a tournament team, Matt, but no Q1 wins. That's an issue. And then a surprising number, TCU beat Texas, and Mike Miles had no field goals, 0, 1 point, and they still managed to top Texas. I still kind of think that Horned Frog team is legit. We'll see. We'll see what the draw looks like in March. Back to you, Matt.
Yeah, just a quick update. We got scores right now. South Alabama up 2 with 4 to play in the tip-off of the Sun Belt. We got Missouri Valley tipping off any second now. Any at the Horn, Kai, take on the Purple Panthers? And I may have just missed it for wagering, so I apologize if we have a winner that we give out that doesn't actually get in placed in time.
I leaned towards Northern Iowa. If Bowen Bourne's in, I have not checked the lineups. I assume he's playing. Lean their way.
Playing?
Jacobson's been in this
Brian lineup.
Jacobson's been in this tournament like 15 times. This is Peden's first, good. So I think I lean towards the experience there.
I agree. All right, let's head out west to my neck of the woods, Jimbo. A game that I was going to attend, but instead I will be sitting on the late night airwaves with you tonight on Sirius XM. Check us out tonight, by the way. Sirius Fantasy Radio on channel 52?
87.
87? Not even close. Okay. Why is it 52?
He's
anyway,
done 2 shows already.
But Sirius 52 is a good station too, I guess. Check that one out. All right, we're talking UCLA, Arizona State. The obvious narrative here is Arizona State off that crazy half-quarter win to knock off Arizona, their in-state rival, which puts them on the right side of the bubble, according to many bracketologists. Jim, how do you break down this handicap from the fact that Arizona State basically has 2 regular season tilts left tonight against UCLA, over the weekend against USC, to really solidify their at-large case? Does that matter at all to you in this handicap, I guess?
A little bit. I think it's going to be tough to blow them out because of that. I think they know how important the metrics are. Even if they get down 15, that's not a rollover and die situation. Not a, let's figure it out on Saturday type of mode, which is kind of the typical Oregon Ducks strategy. Just cash in Thursday and figure it out Saturday. So I think this is a little bit too high, Matthew, at 12. There is the emotional letdown possibility, but at this stage of the season, I have a hard time putting much stock in that. That's more middle of February, doldrums, having to do a bunch of travel. But late in the year here, Arizona schools versus LA schools, really excited we get this to close out the Pac-12 season, the best 4 teams really in the league. So yeah, Matt, I think it's a little too high. I like Arizona State, 11.5 or 12.
Yeah, it's a ginormous game for the Devils. Matt mentioned they are in the inside of bracket matrix now, inside the field. A win here, I would say they're pretty much in. The resume really isn't that bad, and that Texas Southern loss, it's really the only true ugliness on their resume. Otherwise, it's pretty solid compared to most bubble teams. UCLA is still...
Not to interrupt your flow, Kai, I have a question for
Yes.
you, bracketology standpoint.
Yes.
Do you think there's a chance they would not punish somebody like Arizona State for that particular bad loss so as to not discourage playing HBCUs in the future?
No, I don't think they're thinking that ahead, Jim.
Yeah, you're probably right.
That's too, well, conspiracy theory, maybe, but I don't think so. No. UCLA can still get a 1 seed, by the way. Their record is pristine. They haven't lost since January 26th. Arizona State, reminder, led game 1 by 6. between UCLA and Arizona State with 11 minutes to go. Lost by 12. UCLA pretty much just hit the gas pedal and got away from them. The Sun Devils are an interesting dog team because they can hang with anybody with their shot making ability, and they have a lot of athleticism, but their high variance makes them pretty hard to trust. And UCLA is about as steady a team as you can imagine. I kind of think the Bruins pick them apart tonight, piece by piece, Matthew, but I agree with Jim. The spread is a bit too high.
Yeah, it's too high. I kind of remember that game where UCLA was laying, was it 15 or 14 on the opener to USC, and the market just destroyed that down to 10. UCLA got it really big, but then USC came back and closed the margin. I think USC is a little better than Arizona State. So just looking at that handicap, apples to apples, I guess you could argue the line's about right with this sitting at 12. UCLA off that massive mountain performance last weekend, super impressive. I do lean toward Arizona State, but I'm not looking to bet a beaten into number here. It's been bet down 2 points from the opener, especially against a UCLA team who I respect.
Hurley versus Cronin, 3-3-1 against the spread. Nothing in the coach history.
Interesting.
We'll stay here in La La Land, Kai. USC hosting Arizona, that same team we just talked about on the other end of that buzzer beater. Do they get off the mat tonight here against a USC team who I told y'all was good, and they're playing really good lately? They got Dixon Waters back. They got Josh Morgan back. Look at their results. They are awfully feisty, more than feisty the last few weeks. I think they're a real threat in the tournament, and I think they win tonight. I do. I'm kind of selling this Arizona team. Yeah.
Wow. Ooh, man. Arizona.
I'm unhinged.
That shocking Arizona State, like 60-foot buzzer beater, that's kind of sent Arizona to the brink of the 2-3 line. There's a pretty clear divide between the 2s and the 3s in bracketology. I mean, it's a pretty clear line, but another loss here would make things more interesting, and maybe you could argue they should be a 3 if this happens. USC's on the cut line. A win here likely secures a bid. They've won and covered 4 straight since getting swept by the Oregon schools, to Matt's point. They've done very well lately. Arizona crushed them in game 1, though. I think their size is a bit of a shock to USC, who's used to towering over everybody. And frankly, Arizona's size is just better across the board. They do what USC does, and they do it better. So the line feels short to me. I don't respect USC's home floor. I've been there. It's nothing much. They're 8-7 against the spread there. I lean towards the Cats at -2.
Yeah, I'm with you, Kai. Boo, Matt. Let's get up on them. Definitely like Arizona here. Prefer them. Very astute point on the size. Every team in this conference is huge, and Arizona actually has the best big men of the bunch. So you just got to get decent guard play. I'm not going to throw out the Arizona State game, but they definitely should have won, if not for a fluky buzzer beater. And that's a rivalry game, so it maybe toss it out a bit. Look what happened when UCLA and USC get together. Really strange results there, too. So not taking that too far. Definitely impressed with USC trip to the mountains. Matt, you mentioned UCLA taking care of business over there. I thought USC would drop one for sure, and they didn't. Really, really tough trip there, and they took care of business. The line's probably okay, but I just, from a gut sense, Matt, I like the Wildcats, and sub-3, I would be okay with maybe a small dabble on it.
On the total real quick, some people in the chat mentioning they like the under. I agree. And Jim, you talk about how every team in this conference is big. It's been a really good under league all conference season. I don't have the exact record in front of me, but I think if you tally that up, if you just bet every under in this conference so far, you would be profitable. And I think that size matters. Actually, I like the under in both these LA-based games tonight, harkening back to that game we just talked about at the onset. Let's head to the Pac Northwest. Washington hosting Washington State. The Washington State Cougars, Kai, my Cougars, the Fighting Wazoos, as I've called them before, have won 5 in a row. No one's talking about them, of course, because their record's kind of an eyesore, 15-15. Another year where Kyle Smith has a really good team, but the outright record just doesn't quite stack up. They are healthier. I think that explains why they're playing better. The current number is Washington State -1.5, so short road favorite here in Seattle. What do you like?
Yeah, this game means nothing. I'm disappointed that you included these next 2 games in the outline, Matthew, instead of the A-Sun semifinals. It's sad the way you.
I made a decision on purpose. I want to give them their fair due in the chat mob part. So when you're the host, you can choose your own outline as you feel. But I'm the host, so I'll do whatever I want. I'm unhinged.
Yeah, you're right. Wazoo's been you are unhinged, but Wazoo's been quietly hot lately. You're right. Too little, too late for the tournament. They're not making it as an at-large. Maybe they make a surprise run in the Pac-12 tourney. These teams didn't play too long ago. Wazoo held off Washington by 5 in the last game. They rebounded very well against the zone, grabbed 40% of their misses. I think Wazoo's way better. I think this line is short, and I buy the current form that I'm seeing from Washington State. So -1.5, I would lean towards the Cougars.
I do too, Kai. I think maybe there's a chance that Washington either has the rally of we've got to save Mike Hopkins' job, or the inverse of, this is kind of over. That's what we saw mostly from Ole Miss in weeks before Kermit Davis's dismissal, wondering if maybe we're going to have that. Hint, also a potential angle on the next game on the outline. I was surprised to see Kyle Smith only 3-4 against the spread against Hopkins. My perception is that he would own him. He's a much better coach in my mind, but that has not been the case so far. But given the setup, as Matt said, we have a healthy team for Washington State, not banged up like they've been at times. That's when they've underperformed. I do like the Cougars. Travel is whatever. But and Matt, I have the update on your Pac-12 unders. They are the strongest under conference in the country. 49
How about
and 61.
That, Kai? How about that for data for you?
The over. So 61 and 49.
Good job.
Unders are winning by an average of 2 points, 55.5% this year.
Love it. God, I like when data backs up my anecdotes. Nothing else to add here. I like Wazoo and slightly no official play, but that is where I lean. Last Pac-12 game before we get to chat about round one, we will cover all those conference tournament questions. Oregon State hosting Stanford. Jim, I'll throw it right back to you for that parallel you were alluding to in the Washington State-Washington breakdown. Stanford laying 5 on the road against the Beavers, who are young. They can be oddly feisty. Talent-wise, there's no comparison between these two teams, but I think the coaching discrepancy is what narrows the gap to a degree. Feels like a real vintage Pac-12 after dark. Who the heck knows? Throw your hands up. So it's the hardest of stayaways for me. What do you lean here?
Yeah, I'm not going to bet it, not going to watch it. These teams are just so uninteresting to me at this stage of the season. What I will say, Matt, is being a super youthful team at Oregon State, they just lost on a buzzer beater to their cross-state rival Oregon in a big game. Potential letdown for a younger team, probably offset by the coaching edge of Tinkle over Haas. Haas is actually 6-4 against the spread against Tinkle, though, so maybe that is out the door or has been baked into previous lines. Covering by an average of 4 a game, so when he actually covers pretty emphatically against these Beavers. Again, Kai, I just don't have any interest in these teams. I don't know what their mind states are at this late in the year with nothing really to play for.
Yeah, this game means even less than the Apple Cup up there. Stanford's season's been brutal. The Beavers are trying to stay within the top 200 in KenPom. Stanford won game 1 by 21. It's hard to lose by 21 to Stanford, especially in a 62 possession game. Like you guys said about unders, I would lean towards the under in this game. Neither team plays very fast. They both slow it down. Neither team is very potent offensively. Stanford has a major edge in the glass. They have more size, and they can also shoot. Believe it or not, Stanford's a pretty good shooting team, and that's good against the weird Beaver zone they'll probably throw out here. Can't lay points, I think, though, with the tree on the road. No, thank you. I lean towards Oregon State on the number. That's the angle you could get me to, Kai, is the under. I can't get there on a side with either of these teams.
Yeah, it's been bet down 2 points, which is fairly no significant on a 131 point total. But again, back to that Pac-12 under theme. Let's go to chat about round one. Good to see Ebe, our guy, entering the chat. So let's get to his questions early. That's my only request to the czar. But let's get to it.
I don't know what you just said. I'm going to start with Wichita.
Ebe's the chat. Our guy Ebe. Ebe's our favorite chat mobber. He's got questions. Let's get to those first. That's
Our favorite chat mobber? We don't have a favorite chat mobber, Matt. We love them all equally.
I don't even.
I have favorites.
I'm not even sure he asked a question. I think he just said, "Go weave." Michael, Wichita and Houston from Michael here. Huge spread, obviously, Jim. But do you fade the Cougars?
I'm not going
17-ish point spread.
They are rolling of late. I saw support for them in the first half. I sort of buy that. Wichita's actually been relatively feisty. Also, I've talked about the Wichita over trend. I think it's like 9 of their last 10 or something have gone over. It's very, very strong. This total's been bet up. I would lean that way. They've actually weirdly been an over team, but Houston are nothing on the side, over nothing on the total for me.
From Matthew, a Big West showdown between Santa Barbara and UC Davis. Santa Babs still in play for that 1 seed. They need to win this game, though. Your thoughts?
Yeah, that explains the money, I think, from
-2.5 on the road.
Yeah, up to -2.5 from -1. Also, injury question marks for UC Davis, I believe. So I think put those together, that explains the money. I don't like UC Santa Barbara as much as others do. So I'm not going to trust them, even though they have a pretty clear-cut motivational edge, and they are the more talented team here.
Jim, staying in the Big West, another huge game here. UC Irvine at UC Riverside. Irvine 1-point favorite on the road. I think if Riverside wins this game, they pretty much lock up the Big West. Your thoughts?
Yeah, because they swept UC Santa Barbara. They'd have to beat Cal Poly on the road to end the year and avoid dropping that one. But this is enormous. These two teams are tied for first. Clearly, no incentive advantage on either side. I don't have a lot matchup-wise, but Kyle Owens has still been out for Riverside. They've seemed to right the ship and figure things out without him, but it isn't enough to move the needle at this stage. I guess I lean Irvine. I think they got in a couple of tough spots last week, particularly the at Hawaii 48 hours right after playing on the mainland. But I don't have anything super emphatic.
In the A-Sun, yes, semifinal basketball today in the A-Sun. Eastern Kentucky, Liberty. This is at Liberty, 12.5-point spread. I liked Eastern Kentucky, 12.5. I think that's a huge number for a semifinal game. Double digits. EKU beat Liberty once this year. Yeah. If you're going to beat Liberty, you better be athletic, and EKU is very athletic. They are the worst three-point shooting team in the A-Sun, which is worrisome, but they've shot 41% against Liberty in 2 games this year. Something seems to work. They also have good shooters. They just have not shot the ball very well. I like EKU, 12.5 there.
Feels too high. Young team, getting a lot better, playing really well. I mean, they just demolished North Alabama.
They did indeed. Matthew, you get Temple and UCF. Basically a pick 'em at Temple.
I like Temple. I keep reading into the Aaron McKee quotes on Khalif Battle. Sounds like he's just not part of the team. I know they have some other injury question marks as well. That's my only concern. At Temple at home, that's my lean here. Nothing profound. I don't bet this game.
All right, next game is Oakland and Northern Kentucky. Jim, Horizon tournament action.
Why did you give me that question?
Horizon tournament action. Matthew, you get Oakland. NKU 6.5-point spread, a little bit big. This is a neutral site, by the way.
I'm Matt. I love Oakland.
I texted Grant Campy last night, actually, by the way. I'll have you. Pretty crazy that 2 of their best players will be getting surgery like the day after they lose their last game. Like they are really the walking wounded, but they've had some time off to prepare or to rest, recover. They won't be healthy, but they'll be healthy enough, I think, to keep this within 7. I love my Grizz tonight. They also play against zone every day in practice because they play zone. I think it kind of gives them an edge against Northern Kentucky. I love the Grizz. Just keep riding the wave.
Did he respond to you?
Yeah, that's what he told me. He gave me the update on their who are the 2 guys getting surgery? It's Towson and
I don't know. Is it Watts?
Who's the other one?
Is this public knowledge?
I think it's Watts.
Or he just tell you?
Yeah,
this?
No, I think he's talked about it, but he confirmed with me in our little text here. So yeah.
Well,
Northern Kentucky just beat him by 9 at Oakland.
Another good angle. Yeah, I like that angle too.
I like that angle for Northern Kentucky. I think they're better, and Rocket Watts played in that game, and he is a net negative.
Yeah, he's not good.
Spread does feel a bit high for a tournament game, but maybe I'm wrong. Jim, the Valley, back to you. Opening round, Valpo, Murray State, 1-point spread, Murray -1. It's very funny. If you track these teams over the year, this spread would have been 5 in like January, mid-January, but things have changed. Your thoughts here?
I'll credit Mr. Stuckey for the stat. He texted me. Valpo, I believe, is 0-7 in 1 possession or OT games. Murray State is 6-0 in 1 possession or OT games.
Wow.
Both meetings between these two went to OT during the season. Murray State won both of them. I kind of lean towards Valpo. I feel like some of that is luck. I don't think they're that disastrously coached. Like Loddick is awesome, but they're playing better. So slightly into Valpo, but I don't know. You could see Murray trending back up to where they were in the non-conference when they were actually really, really solid. And they tailed off and they stunk on the road. So I very of a split mind in that game.
Big money on Valpo. Wow. Down to minus. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't have a huge opinion on that one. They have the best 2 players on the floor, arguably. So not a bad lean. All right, let's go back to the rundown, guys. I got the rest of the chat questions holstered.
Let's do it. We're staying. No, sorry, we're not. We're going back to the Midwest, Jim. Let's talk Buzzcut Badger basketball. Wisconsin hosting Purdue. At this point, what are Wisconsin's at-large hopes? Obviously, a win tonight against Purdue would certainly help them demonstrably. Just don't think they can compete. I know the Kohl Center can be a house of horrors. It just hasn't been as much this season. Although Purdue is kind of reeling themselves, Jim. This is kind of a really tough handicap for me. I stayed away. nothing profound. Your thoughts?
Yeah, Chucky Hepburn's questionable. I have been told by sources, not as sourced as Matt, this isn't straight from the coach's mouth, but that he is going to play. Who knows how close he is going to be to full health? How much does he really matter? I mean, he matters because their bench stinks. I think that's probably why he's not some super all-star, but if he's out there, that certainly helps. Wisconsin's past month, win, loss, win, loss, win, loss, win, loss would be due for a win by that algorithm. If you care about it,
the Temple seesaw. Really, I like that. Yeah.
It's not really terribly predictive. Purdue also has been bad on the road against the spread, so I'm not really excited about laying more than a possession with them. But I think it'd be Purdue or nothing for me here, Kai. I just don't trust this Wisconsin team. I think they're bad, and I do think Purdue is better than what they've showed lately.
Yeah, despite all the Badgers' good wins, it's kind of hard to see them getting in if they drop this game. They'd be 16-13. Assuming they beat Minnesota, finish 17-13, it'll be close. If you lose game one in the tournament, Big Ten tournament, you're 17-14. I don't think that really gets them there. If they win, though, it's yet another Q1 win, and it's going to be really hard to keep them on the outside unless they have a disaster against Minnesota. Matt's right. Purdue has struggled recently. They're in danger of falling off the one line. They have the Big Ten wrapped up, or at least a share of it. I think they're out right now. Not mistaken. Maybe still in danger of a share.
Michigan's got a tough road schedule.
Yeah, another loss, like I said, though, could knock them off the 1-seed line. They're 2-4 against the spread and straight up the last 6 games. I just don't really know how Wisconsin scores. They kind of force a square peg into a round hole. You're not going to get much inside here in the paint. You have to basically hit threes, and they're not great at that. And no matter what defense they throw at Edey, they're not stopping them. The Badger perimeter isn't athletic. They're not going to bother freshman guards. I lean towards Purdue -4, Matt, even though they're on the road.
I do too. Everyone and their mother likes Purdue here. I think technically it's actually a pretty fair line at -4, but just my gut screams Purdue. I know Wisconsin's won their last 2 home games. I think they just caught Michigan and Iowa right before they got going. Maybe I'm cherry picking or moving that goalpost, and I should be giving more credit to Wisconsin, but I just don't think this team's that good. I stubbornly believe that, and we'll see what bears out tonight. All that said, I've lost plenty of penny this year betting against Big Ten home teams, so I'm not going to do that anymore. Let's say the Big Ten, Jim. We're going to Illinois, who is hosting Michigan, as we just discussed, a team that is making a late surge for a potential at-large push, who got that big OT win against the Badgers on Sunday. Illinois, some funny news clippings about Matthew Meyer and his caffeine-induced injury, we'll call it, but he is playing today, hopefully caffeinated and well-energized. He is key to this team right now. I think Illinois at home -5 in the spot feels cheap. I like the Illini quite a bit here.
Good for you for trusting the Illini. I don't know what we're going to see with them. They are very, very whack-a-mole in terms of effort. I think it was Robbie Hummel on the coverage that said they're allergic to driving. Like they just don't get in the lane. Like they play 5 out, but nobody really tries to do anything. And then it ends up being isolation ball late in the clock and they can't shoot. That kind of works or doesn't work against Michigan, works for Michigan because their pick and roll coverage stinks, but Illinois isn't like a super heavy pick and roll team and hasn't been prolific in it this year. I actually lean towards Michigan, Matt. I think they're playing a little better, and Illinois is just so erratic. Who knows what you're getting out of Meyer? Lean Michigan, but I'm not betting it. And another Big Ten road team won't do it, Kai.
Michigan's making a legit run, man. 1-6 the last 8. A win here on the road, Q1. Gets them closer to the dance. If they do it again at Indiana, could finish second in the Big Ten, rack up another Q1 win. It'd be close. They could make it in the tournament for sure still. Illinois, safe in the dance, but still playing for their Big Ten tourney seed. Hopefully Meyer is recovered from his caffeine poisoning. Buddy, what are you doing? I mean, I have no words for this. The video is hilarious.
Gaming's live, baby.
5 monsters in a row. What are you doing?
Gamers play all night.
I don't understand.
I can't. The thought process just doesn't even compute.
Those are super bad for you, let alone 5 of them. Come on, man. You're a college athlete. I just can't believe these kids are so stupid. Anyways, Epps probably out for Illinois. I don't know if he matters a whole lot in this game. Jet Howard, his status is in the air. Michigan, though, 2-0 against the spread. Last 2 games without Howard. He takes bad shots. Maybe they actually figured something out here. The spread, I think, is right around 5. I lean towards Michigan, actually. I think they figured something out without Howard. Illinois has bodies to throw at Dickinson, usually has a strong home court, but like Jim said, I can't trust him, man. So I'm staying away or lean towards Michigan.
Yeah, you saw that home court get punked, Kai.
I saw him get punked. Yeah, I did. I did indeed.
Michigan got Terrence Williams back last 2 games. That matters.
Terrence Howard.
Terrence
Jet
Howard.
Williams and Terrence Howard. Let's do that one.
We'll just kind of fuse them into different whatever. But Joey Baker, all-star. Joey Baker's actually a solid role player, can defend and make shots. I've never understood why he doesn't play that much with this team. He doesn't really have a lot of depth. But so yeah, I'm with Kai. I think they can. Michigan's not going to drop off too much without Jet Howard. I think they've proven that the last 2 games. All right, let's head back west. We got 2 WCC tournament tilts to conclude our outline here. We'll start with my best bet. I'll just kick it off right now. We're riding the waves. Pepperdine -2 against Pacific. Lorenzo Romar has been a WCC tournament monster. I think there's something to that, not overly fluky in terms of randomness of results. Lots of talent, underachieve, hit the reset button for a new season. I think these guys who are often fringe pro-level prospects, especially this year, they have legit 2 potential first-rounders, use this kind of Vegas or lean stages launching pad to their NBA draft offseason. And I just think talent tends to play well in conference tournaments, especially in the first round. There's not a ton of time to prepare for these early slated conference tournaments. I like the Waves here. I know Pacific's playing better, but I think Romar continues that trend, Kai.
Yeah, they have all the talent in the world. We've said it all season. And maybe they take this conference tournament as a reset and think of it as a new season. It's hey, we're talented enough to make a run in this tournament. Why not? We have 2 NBA guys on our freaking team. I mean, they do have the talent. Maybe it's enough motivation here. Matt, like you said, Romar, last season was his first opening round loss in the WCC tournament. For whatever reason, he's had good players. Let's probably put it that way. They've done pretty well in this tournament. Pacific beat Pepperdine twice this year. One of them was close. One of them wasn't. Pepperdine defensively is really hard to trust. But again, maybe they kind of lock in here, get set defensively. I do tend to lean towards a reset for Pepperdine, Jim. I do think they win. I think the line's appropriate. I lean towards Pepperdine.
Yeah, I'm gonna get wavy. Here. I'm with Matthew's best bet.
Malibu.
Hey Matt, who's the worst offense in the WCC?
It might be Pepperdine.
It's Pepperdine. It's crazy.
Yeah. They take terrible shots.
Horrific shots. I mean, they just live 17 feet away. You'd hope that the raised stakes of this event would maybe get them to focus a little bit, not just nonchalant pull up from 17 feet with no pass. I'm a little surprised they're favored, but yeah, I mean, given the historical, Pacific beat them twice. Pepperdine did not score over a point per possession in either of those games, which is weird considering Pacific's defense. But again, that goes back to Pepperdine's offense not being that strong. I'm leaning with you here, Matthew. I haven't officially bet it, but maybe you give me a nudge off mic after the show here and I'll join you.
Good. Thank you for riding along. Let's conclude with our final WCC opening round game tonight. Portland is playing San Diego in holy money. Everyone is betting on the Pilots.
Yeah, my God.
I checked who was coaching this game, and I certainly understand why you would bet on Portland here. That said, I like San Diego at 5.5. I think it's gotten absolutely out of control. Yeah. I believe what's his face is supposed to play tonight for San Diego.
There are 9 different players you could be talking about.
I think Eric Williams is supposed to play. That's the one you're right. There's too many players who might have lost track. Chat mob straightened me out. One of you straightened me out. I like San Diego. I don't care who plays. 6, really? Kai, take?
Yeah, Ken Pom made it 2. So I think 5.5 is a touch high here. And like Pepperdine, San Diego's got a lot of talent, man. A lot of talent. They might be even worse defensively than Pepperdine, so that's kind of a concern. Portland swept the series. They scored 1.21 and 1.29 points per possession against San Diego in those games. San Diego just can't stop them. And yeah, the coaching mismatch couldn't be any higher. Liggins versus Lavin, get out of here. I mean, it's a chasm between those two X's and O's wise. Both teams come in on losing streaks. Portland's lost 4. San Diego's lost 5 in a row. Again, I think 5.5 is too much, Jim, but I think Portland wins the game.
Kai, what did you say with the points per possession by Portland against San Diego?
1.21 and 1.29.
I bet they score 1.3 today. I'll make that side wager. I think they absolutely blitz this horrific defense. It is kind of an effort thing, but also just they don't have any sort of a plan to take away what another team wants to do. Every San Diego game you watch, it's wow, look, a team that wants layups gets layups, or the team that wants open corner threes gets open corner threes. And Portland's offense is beautifully orchestrated. I think they use this as a reset a little bit. I think down the stretch, Matt, it was a team that had been banged up really badly in the middle of league play with injuries, and they just tailed off, weren't able to finish. I bet on them against Pacific in the finale, obviously lost that. But I'm riding with them again today, even at 5.5. I still lean the Pilots. I know it's well above that KenPom spread, but I'm a Portland man today.
Yeah, Jim, you said this preseason. Portland was a team that was probably destined to be a little bit overvalued because of how quickly they shot up the metrics rankings, whatever you want to say. Last year had a real gaudy start. They had an awesome start to the non-conference with the MTU. Is like they were just on the verge of kind of combusting from a value perspective. They clearly did that. The injuries made that worse. I'm kind of with you on maybe there's a little bit of an upswing here in the final couple of games if they can get this win tonight. But God, 5.5, 6 is just too many. I'm sorry.
It's a steep price. I agree.
It is no bargain. Back to Chat Mob we go for round 2, Jimbo.
Round 2. Kaibo.
Sorry. Kaibo.
Thank you.
Jim, Kaibo.
Jim, Jets Pete asks, do you prefer Navy or Army today? What's the better bet in the Patriot League?
I prefer neither of them against the spread, which is crazy. I'm a troop man, but
big spread, Navy American, 7-point spread in that game.
Yeah, it was like 9 yesterday. People got all over that one, unsurprisingly. I saw somebody, it might have been Jets Pete himself, joking about home in this conference and the fact that it shouldn't matter and what the spread was previously. Navy is playing a lot better, so maybe there's something to that. But Boston's a very veteran team, did not play well down the stretch. I trust them a little bit more against Army, who I think starts 2 freshmen or 2 freshmen in their top 6. So lean to the Terriers, lean to the Eagles, but I won't bet against the troops myself.
Matt, you get SMU and Memphis. Memphis is a 6.5-point favorite on the road. The Kendrick Davis Bowl. Thoughts?
I like Memphis. I know everyone's thinking this is going to be a look-ahead spot for the Tigers who play Houston. However, my take is I think they just roll SMU. I think the revenge angle from Davis is real in this matchup. And Memphis is probably already in. Like, they win this game, lose to Houston. Aren't they probably in anyway? Like, I don't think they need the Houston win to get in. Obviously, they feel better about it, but they need to take care of business tonight. I think they do.
Yes.
So I actually like Memphis.
Yeah, it's 9 and KenPom. I think it's a bit of a bargain. I know Kennedy's out for the year for Memphis, but Davis is what matters.
Jim, you get a SWAC matchup. Usually this is Matt's territory. Southern is -10 against Alabama State. Thoughts?
Alabama State. Southern is bad down the stretch.
They're falling.
They've been playing really, really poorly of late. Barely got by Florida A&M. Kyle, you said SWAC. I didn't think I'd have a take, but I actually have a strong. Southern, I think is.
I knew you would.
Yeah.
Matt, you get CUSA matchup here. Middle Tennessee on the road at North Texas. North Texas favored by 7. Probably can't get there as an at-large to the tournament, but still some games left for the CUSA tourney. Your thoughts?
Hard to stay awake. The line's about right. Some money on the over, shockingly, in our Texas game. But yeah, I don't. This is a tough one to bet. Don't bet the CUSA before the tournament. This feels like these are weird motivational angles. I can't really pick out anything here. So nothing for me.
Horizon games are neutral at home.
Horizon or home.
I think this is the last at home round.
In Indianapolis.
And then they go neutral for semis. Yep.
So Wright State Gym is at Milwaukee, and they're 2-point favorites. Thoughts? Big rivalry.
Rather surprising, but Milwaukee's another team that kind of tailed off late. I don't know what's the key guy that's been out. Markeith Browning. I don't think they're going to get him back, and they have been a different team without him. I actually do lean Wright State here, a team that's been very, very good in this event under Nagy.
Matthew from Matthew. Big Ten, Rutgers on the road at Minnesota, -8.5 is Rutgers. Fun fact, Minnesota is the only Big Ten team outside of the top 100, and they're also the only one outside the top 200. That's Minnesota this season. What do you think? 8.5-point spread.
Yeah, you're setting me up for a Rutgers lane, which I guess I do, but Rutgers laying points on the road in the Big Ten.
Laying a lot.
With the shell of its right. Yeah, Nets, don't bet this game. Next. Skip.
There's a chance Rutgers found the thing that they needed with Derek Simpson, like completely took over second half against Penn State. They need that. So I'm going to keep a close eye on that.
Good point.
Jim, Antoine Davis, he and his team are at Youngstown, 9-point spread for the Penguins, the all-time scoring record on the line. Who do you got?
I'm looking to see what the total's done here. It's been bet down 5 points, which is a little bit surprising to me. Interesting. I think there's going to be a lot of points in this game. So I'm kind of pushing back against the market in that regard. On the spread perspective, I do think Detroit competes a little bit too. Youngstown has been the best team in the league. Like, no ifs, ands, or buts about that. But I think the Titans kind of hang around here. You get a big Antoine Davis game, and he sets the record as well.
Matt, you get a MEAC game. Norfolk on the road at Howard, -2. Norfolk, If they win, they're the MEAC champions. I guess if Howard wins, they're the MEAC champions. So championship game on the line.
Yeah, a lot, right? I feel like we kind of swept this under the rug here. Jim's crossing his fingers because he needs the Bison to prevail. Is that correct? No, you're Norfolk.
He needs
guy.
the Spartans.
You're Norfolk.
This is Sparta, Matthew. How dare you?
Money agrees with you, Jimbo, or at least they're on your side. Norfolk off the insane comeback win. Tough spot, though, I think.
Comeback loss. Sorry.
So maybe actually a good spot because they're going to be pissed off about that, right?
Yep. And Joe Bryant and Dana Tate missed that game, but they were suspended. They're back for this one.
All right, makes a ton of sense.
Jim, Sunbelt game from Pat, Arkansas State and Troy. Troy is -8.5, neutral floor, Pensacola.
I don't love Troy laying bigger numbers. I think they're just a monster underdog under Scott Cross, but 8.5 feels a little bit high to me in that game.
Matthew, in the Patriot, Loyola Maryland and Colgate, you love these big double-digit, huge dogs in conference tournaments. They're 17-point dogs against Colgate, the best team in the league.
Yeah, but Colgate's a different beast. I actually like the over here. I think if these games get a little bit out of hand, just kind of opens up second half, and I think there's a ton of points. Neither team can stop the other. A little worried about pace, but I think this is a highly efficient output from both teams.
And Jim, we're ending in the A-Sun with a question from Ray. Lipscomb, Kennesaw State. Lipscomb, 4.5-point dogs at Kennesaw. Your thoughts?
Kennesaw has been really good, but I kind of lean Lipscomb on that number.
Yep.
It's so weird how much Asajala has gone to the back seat on that team.
Yes.
Usage is down like 10%.
Ognacevic, first team all A-Sun. Asajala, nothing.
It's like kind of helped them, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that's another feisty competitive one like Kennesaw's quarterfinal game was. They're not going to run teams off like Liberty can. So I actually kind of lean Lipscomb there.
I do too. All right, best bets time. Jim, you're first.
Hey, let's get old like that island in the M. Night Shyamalan movie. Old Dominion, -4.5 for me here. Maybe a hair high, but they got Emo Essien back in the finale, gives them another ball handler. I just think they're playing really well. Like down the stretch, beat Marshall, beat Southern Miss at home, the top two teams in the league, and actually won a few road games as well. And I just don't think Texas State's very good. They've been beat up all season, haven't been a great Sunbelt tournament team in the past, even when they've won the league. And now you've got a much more middling version here. I will ride with the Monarchs and the way they are trending here.
Matthew.
I took them too, Jim. Let's go Monarchs. Yeah, the Waves. Romo and the squad, NBA pros. Let's just play like the talent that we have. What do you say today, guys? Huh? Do or die. Stakes are high. Let's just play accordingly. That's my take. -2, Pepperdine. Kai, you.
SEMO -1 is my best bet. Much better team than Tennessee State, in my opinion. I also trust them a lot more than Tennessee State, a very erratic team. They should get endless trips to the free throw line. They have the number one free throw attempt rate in the league. Tennessee State fouls more than any other team in the conference. SEMO also is going to force a lot of turnovers. Not a great ball handling team, Tennessee State. SEMO very good defending out there on the perimeter. SEMO -1. Back to Matt.
That's all we got today. Thanks for joining, everyone. We'll be off tomorrow. Back again on Saturday's Ben at 10:15 Central, 11:15 Eastern, 8:15 Pacific. Until then, winners only. And come back and join us on the weekend.